All right, so we had a just a wild game, a really wild game, really fun game, I thought, by both teams. Both quarterbacks played well, and even though it looked like for a second Green Bay was going to run away with it, that didn't end up happening. Baltimore was able to make a game of it. It comes down to one play where the Ravens made a questionable decision in going for two. Not going for two, I think that makes sense. Like, you're injured, take a chance for one play to win it. That makes sense. But they could have gone for it earlier. They were down 14. Go for it the first time. That way, if you don't get it, you at least have a chance to go for it again. That was just a bad decision. It's just straight up dumb. Like, there's no... Sometimes I like to say, like, you could argue one way or the other. There's no argument. If you're going to go for it, you got to go for it the first time. That's the only thing I could think of would be maybe because they don't want to give Rodgers, the extra reason to go for it, and they don't know how, much time there will be left on the, I don't know. I have to overthink it to try to make it make sense because it's just not a good decision. But that being said, there was a lot of good stuff in this game. Rodgers was incredible. He might be the MVP. There's no wrong answer when it comes to Rodgers or Brady, in my opinion. You could argue Rodgers for sure. He's been incredible. So yeah, let's just get into the film. All right, so let's start things off with the Packers side of things. It's interesting the way Aaron Rodgers has played this year because I keep feeling like he doesn't get a ton of work to do, but he always looks so impressive when he is getting stuff to do. And this is a great example where, again, through a large part of this game, it was, okay, let's run the ball a lot. They didn't have a ton of possessions just because of the way the Ravens run the ball a lot. But you better believe he makes the most of his opportunities, and this throw is just incredible. It's going to be a zone coverage play, and what you're going to do is you're going to have basically this is set up so that a linebacker will end up covering a receiver for Green Bay. So Marquez Valdes-Scantling is going to end up getting covered by a linebacker. That's what you want to have happen since it's a zone coverage play. And, the Ravens playing some zone coverage largely just because, what else do you do? If you man up against the Packers, you have no corners. You're going to struggle. And look, so on this play, what you notice right here is that what's important to look at is where the linebacker is looking. This is Patrick Queen, who's in coverage, and he has to turn his back now. He doesn't have the speed to keep up with Marquez Valdes-Scantling. He has to turn his back towards the quarterback. And every time Rodgers can read your name on the back of your jersey, he's going to throw the ball in your direction. That's just a general rule of thumb. I mean, watch this. It's a perfect throw. There wasn't a ton of separation, but what he had was Queen wasn't looking towards the ball. He knew that, and he just put it perfectly on the money. It's just one of those things that Rodgers can do so consistently. It works, basically every single time. It's just an incredible thing. So some people could sit here and argue, oh, well, they only were able to move the ball because of the Ravens' bad secondary. And obviously, that was a factor, but that's not the only factor. Rodgers made some great throws. This one is one where you could argue, okay, this is maybe an example of where Baltimore has some issues at corner, but at the same time, what is a football team supposed to do? You're supposed to take advantage of your opponent's weaknesses, and that's what's going to happen here. So Adams it's not really a one-on-one matchup. As they mentioned, he's getting safety help over the top. I thought Aikman did a good job with this. So as a corner, you would like him to not get beat to the top of the screen. If you're going to get beat over the middle. However, you see Adams really quickly is going to make this great move, and that's just Davante Adams, what he can do. I think part of it, too, is Adams just made a great route, and a lot of people are saying, well, how are you getting beat to the outside? Well, because Adams faked as though he was going to the inside, and he's a really good route runner, so, a practice squad corner, who I believe this is his second career snap, let alone start, is just getting beat here. Of course, Rodgers is basically never going to miss a throw like that, so again, sure, you could argue, why do you have Robert Jackson on Davante Adams? But the flip side is the Ravens don't have anybody. That's why they tried to double him, and Adams was able to make a move and get himself open even with a double team because he's Davante Adams, and then for Aaron Rodgers, that's just easy pickings. So, good stuff by the Packers offense. Meanwhile, on the flip side, for Baltimore, they were able to move the ball pretty well as well. And a big chunk of this was, so the coverage the Packers are going to run a lot of, especially in the first half, was a lot of man coverage because that kind of seems a little bit counterintuitive since, okay, who's now going to be watching Tyler Huntley? But this is actually a way that teams have had success against Baltimore a lot more this season. But, really, there was a few times last season when this happened. The Titans did this famously in that upset when the Ravens were 14-2 and lost in the divisional round. You play man coverage, now the receivers are going to have a hard time getting open because they don't have a ton of great man-beating wide receivers. What they do have, though, is a great man-beating tight end in Mark Andrews, of course. So you have Mark Andrews going up against Darnell Savage. He was just able to really have success. His route is the one you see on the screen. And look at how right when this play begins, I mean, he just, he's explosive and he's big, and it's hard to beat that combination. So a lot of people were getting mad at Darnell Savage, and a lot of these, I don't really know what you could do too much. I mean, Mark Andrews is really good at this stuff. And it's kind of one of those things where it's like, okay, so do you double the tight end and leave all the wide receivers of a one-on-one matchup? I think the answer is yes. I think you do that. I mean, you could potentially double two guys or have a safety over the top. But if you blitz, then you can't do that. Not to mention, you ideally want to keep someone with eyes on, Tyler Huntley, and you can't do that if you are, if you're doubling Andrews, then one guy has to keep a guy on Huntley. That's all you can do. And as you see, it was a good throw as well. So all of that working together. So you could maybe argue, I think one mindset is like, hey, this is maybe discouraging for the Packers, that a scheme that has worked against the Ravens, you tried it and it didn't work out as well. The flip side, though, is that, well, it was really just one guy getting beat. Mark Andrews is very good. Maybe that's all it is. And there was also stuff like this, because it's worth mentioning, there was a different quarterback in the game. So it might just simply be Lamar Jackson needs to throw the ball up to Mark Andrews more frequently. On this play, it's going to be it's a man coverage play. It's a blitz. Mark Andrews has a one-on-one matchup, and watch what Huntley's going to do. Look, so you're going to see Huntley takes the snap. He's just going to chuck one up towards Andrews, and this isn't, it's not even really bad coverage, I don't think, but this is just kind of, he's someone who can win these types of matchups. He can box players out, and that's what he's going to try and do here. As you see, it's going to be a really good catch, and they're able to pick up a touchdown here, so good stuff by the Baltimore Ravens, good stuff by Mark Andrews, all of that. Thought that was very good. This play was obviously just such a huge play, and it also just goes to show, like, kind of when Rodgers is on, when this Packers receiving core is getting open, there's just no stopping them. I really do feel like when they have a good matchup in the secondary, they're the most unbeatable team in football. And that's, pretty good. It doesn't happen every game, but it happens a lot of games, and it happened in this one, certainly. What's going to happen here is Adams is currently getting double teamed. So it's man coverage. They're not blitzing. They have a player, linebacker over the middle. But now you have one-on-one matchups across the board, and this is the value of a Davante Adams, is even when he's not actually getting the ball, he's adding value. The way teams just have to play him, it opens stuff up for, in this case, Marquez Valdes-Scantling to try and win a one-on-one matchup. Watch how right when this play begins, you're going to notice right here that there is certainly an opening for Valdes-Scantling to try and take. He has plenty of space over the middle, and you see the corner who's covering him, his hips are kind of turned towards the bottom of the screen. This was, good, well-ran route by Valdes-Scantling of kind of, not selling exactly what he's doing until it's too late. You're not going to be able to catch up to him. Valdes-Scantling is too quick, and Rodgers can make these throws too perfect. Again, it's a perfect throw. It's exactly where Aaron Rodgers wanted to throw the football. That's just incredible stuff by the Packers offense. And all right, let's talk about that final play just for a second. Not a huge breakdown, but just at the bottom of the screen, Mark Andrews versus Eric Stokes. They finally put a cornerback on Andrews, and that was really kind of the saving grace, I thought. And also, they're going to be giving Andrews some extra attention. I mean, what they want to have happen, what Baltimore wants to have happen on this play is a one-on-one matchup with Andrews. They're trying to get the ball to their best player in this situation. I think it makes some sense. And Darnell Savage is really going to be the guy who got smoked by Andrews all game, finally come back and make a play, albeit not actually covering Andrews one-on-one. Watch as you're going to see Huntley rolls to his right, he throws, and it looks like Savage just got a finger on it. Even if he didn't, he disrupted it enough that Andrews just couldn't really see where the ball was and wasn't able to actually make the grab. It ends up falling incomplete to both of them, and the Baltimore Ravens would, not be able to convert. Packers go on to win. Just really good stuff by the Packers. So yeah, that's what I thought. Very fun game. Two good teams. I think for the Ravens, it's optimistic, but you got to start winning now. AFC's tough. So yeah, that's what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. Of course, as always, thanks for watching.